Hi everyone and welcome to another Hatch live stream. We're coming to you live today from the Wilcom offices here in very sunny Sydney this morning. I'm just doing our sound checks, so if you are in the chat, either on Facebook or on YouTube, if you can just jump in and let me know that you can hear me, that would be fantastic. And let's see if we can get started a little earlier today with a little less sound checks. So hopefully we will be all good to go. Today I'm going to be talking all things towels. We also have some exciting new things coming up in the Hatch Academy as well. But one of the things I wanted to ask everyone today is, what is your favourite thing to stitch onto towels? Whether it's for your own home, for gifts, or whether you're selling them at the markets or you've got a little online store, whichever way you're using towels, I'd love to know how you are actually stitching them out and what you're putting on them. So let me know all about your towels in the chat, as we got people coming in through the chat as well. So it looks like we've got Terry coming in from the Netherlands, always one of the first to join the chat. Thanks so much there, Terry. And they're giving me the thumbs up for the sound as well. So that is fantastic for YouTube. Looks like we're all coming through. It always seems that Facebook's a little slow on the uptake with the sound. So I think that's definitely a Facebook thing, not an us thing. So let me know wherever you're coming in from around the world. As I said, today here in Sydney, I'm in the Wilcom offices. It is super, super sunny, which is kind of nice. We've had a little bit of rain this week. It's been like not too troublesome, but more of that like, how do I get my washing done kind of, do I need my umbrella type of rain? Not anything too tragic, so that's pretty good. And we've got Rennie coming in from Chicago, and everyone's giving me the thumbs up. So this is fantastic. It means we're all going to good. That's great. We've got people coming in from Alabama. We've got people from Pennsylvania. And like I said today, I want to know where you're coming in from. But I also want to know, because we're going to be talking a lot about towels today, I want to know how and what you stitch onto towels. So whether it's just for your home, for your markets, whatever way you're doing it, I want to know about what you're putting on towels. For here in Australia, even though it's quite warm and sunny, I am starting to think about autumn. And I was thinking, oh, I could do some cozy new kind of ones of towels for autumn for no other reason than it just makes the house feel nice and refreshed before we have winter. Admittedly, our winter is a much nicer, warmer winter than many of you have been experiencing. But I just kind of love the fact that within just like a couple of hours, like digitizing and then stitching out on my machine, suddenly everything feels nice and refresh and like a nice start to a new season. So that's what's got me thinking about towels this week. So let's be sure that we're all having a chat about that. Wow, the chat's moving fast today. I'm going to try and catch everyone. Hi to people from Sparta. We've got Keith coming in from Rhode Island, Pat from Victoria in Vancouver Island. We've got Tom coming in from Tucson. And I've got Debbie's talking with Di, I think it is. Tanya says she puts monograms on her towels, which a monogram is a lovely towel. It also makes a beautiful gift as well. It's really fantastic. We've got Fontella coming in from Suffolk in Virginia. And we've got lots of people coming in that I think I missed on the chat as well. But thank you all for joining us. It's such a great day to be here with you. I've actually had a really great week of stitching out lots of things for myself, which I'm super excited to share with you next time we have a Stitch Club. So if you've been stitching out lots of things and you want to share them in the Stitch Club, be sure to join the Facebook user group and share all of your photos there. We love seeing what people have created, what they're making, all of that kind of stuff. So be sure to share the photos in there because I love seeing them and we can share them all in Stitch Club. So that's really fantastic. We've got Jumpy in the chat saying they need some new towels. Yep, it's like that. Sometimes you just need to do a whole refresh. We've got Tracy coming in from Sydney and Janice in from Illinois. And Deborah's saying she's considering getting a Hatch and should she get it? Yes, you should. I'm actually going to be showing some things from the Academy today, which I think is a fantastic way to actually learn Hatch because it will take you through such a wide variety of things. So hang about, Debbie. If anyone has got any extra chat or extra comments for her, be sure to let her know in the chat. She's there on YouTube. So be sure to let her know how much we all love Hatch and why she should get it. Terry's saying they have not done towels yet. The high loft is a bit scary. Well, today we're going to be talking a lot about the laydown stitch, which is built into hatch, which makes that loft not scary at all. And you'll just be wanting to tackle them all because it makes it so easy. So hang about. Definitely going to be doing that as well. Oh, Lynn has some lovely warm spring weather in Phoenix with 85 degrees. I'm going to go start with the Fahrenheit. That is a really lovely spring day there for you. And we've got people in from Indiana. Uniclaw? I'm definitely said that one. I'm so sorry, Sandy. I was like, how do I say that? And we've people got in from Mossman in North Queensland. I bet it's nice and warm and sweaty for you guys up there. It has been humid in the North Queensland area as well. All right, Lynn is saying she's dropped out on sound. If anyone has dropped out on sound, just be sure to make sure that you have the sound turned up on your computer as well. So let's hope we're all good. All right, I'm going to do one quick check out and then we'll be back with all of the information. Hi everyone and welcome to our Hatch live stream. If you've been with us for the chat beforehand, we've just been doing some sound checks. We've been checking in to find out where everyone is joining us from around the world today, and we're talking about towels. So I want to know what you embroider on towels, or whether maybe like Terry, you're a little bit scared of that loft of the towel. So let us know in the chat and we'll make sure we answer all of your questions today. All right, one of the things I wanted to let you all know about is, as you know, we have our very popular 3D in the Hoop key fobs course. Now, this course came out towards the end of last year, and what we've been doing is each month we have added a new key fob to it. So what you do is you make your way through the course, and the course is fantastic because it shows you how to use simple objects, how to use shapes, and how to use letters, all to create a different type of key fob. Then at the end, we've actually added in some bonus extra designs for you. This month's bonus extra designs is based on the lovely Sakura blossom season from Japan, notably Nara, Japan, where there are beautiful deer. So if anyone has been to Japan, you will know how lovely it is there in the cherry blossom season. So this is our cherry blossom one for this year. Isn't that just such a sweet little design? Like I said, you will find that one inside the 3D in the Hoops key fob course, and you'll find all of the instructions on how to use those extra files to actually put into the information with inside the Hatch file there. So you can go to design information and it tells you when to do all of the steps inside that information, because what you'll find is sometimes you need to place your foam and then you need to place your upper, then sometimes you need to place your backer. It's a multi-step process, so we've written down the steps for you there as well. Also on the Sakura Blossom one, we've actually used some additional little Sakura blossoms, so we actually cut the little petals. We used this brother scan and cut ours, but we've included the SVG cut file in that for you. So it's a little zip file under your zip. It'll have your EMB file in there and the SVG file, so you can actually recreate those key fobs yourself. They make a really cute giveaway. They're great for sales if you're at the markets, because it's such a nice, easy, portable thing for people. So be sure to check out that course. It's really great. We've got Vicky coming in from, I'm not even going to attempt to say this. I know it is in a Scandinavian or Norwegian country. It looks fantastic wherever you are from. And we've got Eva Marie coming in from Chicago as well. Deborah's asking a question that I'm not entirely understanding. So, what's happening? Deb is asking, should she buy Hatch? I've said yes, naturally. What you'll find is that she has been looking lots of videos on YouTube. So there are some Hatch videos on YouTube, but you'll actually find the bulk of the Hatch videos inside the Hatch Academy. Now, the Hatch Academy comes included with your Hatch software. If you buy Hatch Digitizer, which is the highest level of the Hatch software, you get full access to everything inside the Academy, but you also get the ability to do everything in there. On some of the other ones, you can see the courses in the Academy, but when you go to those tools are grayed out because they are not applicable to your level of Hatch. So even if you try the 30-day free trial, you actually get access to the Academy, so you can start watching out the Academy, seeing what's about. We always suggest get started with the getting starting videos. There's a nice little group there together. You can try them all out. It teaches about the toolboxes, how to save, how to get around the kind of software, and then you can dive into whichever subjects you really like. The Getting Started or How to Digitize class is fantastic for anyone who wants to build their digitizing skills. It's a really fantastic way to do that as well. All right, so we've got some extra people coming in on the chat. We've got Connie coming in from Berkeley, and Terry is saying that she's giving some hints for Deborah as well, so for things to try as well. We've got Nerily coming in from Victoria, and Iona from Canberra. Hi, I think you were our first Canberra person as well. During the week, as we were advertising our live stream, we also had some very lovely comments from as far away as Transylvania of people saying how much they enjoy watching it in a different time. So obviously time zones are really tricky and we can't make every time zone work for everyone. And so people are saying that they actually wait till the next day and they wake up in the morning and they enjoy their cup of coffee or watching the live stream. So thank you so much for that. We really do appreciate everyone who takes time out either to be here live or to watch afterwards. If you ever watch afterwards and you have extra questions, you can always drop them straight into the chat or in the comments underneath YouTube in particular, and we will answer them for you. So if you get stuck or you have extra questions, just pop them in those chats and you can see them there as well. And we've also got Tamara in from Indiana. Now, for some of our longer term people who've been with us for a while, you will know that at the end of last year, we released one of the most amazing courses ever created for digitizing, and it's inside the Hatch Academy. So we actually launched a multi-part shading course. Now, this shading course takes you from the very basics of shading, and as it's multi-part, as we work our way through the parts, you're going to learn so many different ways to shade your designs, and it really brings your designs to life, and you can interpret so many more different things in a really artistic kind of way, but also a super saleable way as well. So the second part of the course has just been released. So what I've done is I've included the little overview video for you. Let's have a look and see what it is all about.
This is where your embroidery starts to look like modern art. In part 2, you'll learn how to shade with lighter fills, blend colors like watercolor, and create soft transitions using the fabric itself. With each method, you'll digitize a new floral design and explore techniques like black contrast backgrounds and hue blending. Modern shading is soft, subtle, and full of creative possibilities. Let's shade with style.
Now, as I said, that is part 2 of the shading course. So if you are new to the course, definitely go in with part 1 first and then make your way into part 2. It's a really great course because it takes you through lots of hows and whys and wherefores of how to make your shading actually work. And this new section, which includes such beautiful things as watercolors and different types of interpretation, it's really fantastic. I've been enjoying using it so much and making my way through it. And I think if you're if you've been digitizing for a little bit, or you're kind of, maybe you are doing your own drawings or your own artworks, maybe you are a watercolor artist and you want your stitches to have that lightness, that transparency that we see with those kind of art forms, this is your way to learn it in stitches. It is fantastic for that. So as I said, that one is included inside the Hatch Academy. You are going to need digitizer level to actually be able to do all of the key things that are laid out in there. So you do need the full digitizing kind of capabilities in there to actually be able to do the shading course, but it's so worth it. And you're really going to love how it makes you think about embroidery and how you can color things, because no longer are we just thinking about, like, I don't want to say solid blobs of colors, because that kind of like devalues what we do sometimes, because sometimes solid blobs is exactly what we need, but it just allows for so much more creativity and interpretation. So definitely check it out. It is really fun. It is available like right now inside the Academy. The team has dropped the links in there for you as well. So like I said, start with part one and then move on to part two. If you have never digitized before, maybe take a look at the How to Digitize course before you jump into the shading ones, because then you're going to be a lot more familiar with where all the tools are and everything like that. So definitely go like How to Digitize shading course part one, shading course part two. There are more parts to that course to come, and we will be releasing those in the upcoming months. So it's really great. Jump on in and definitely try it out as well. Now, in the chat, Terry has been doing my job for me, which is fantastic. Love you, Terry. Terry has been saying the Hatch Academy is the best help you can ever dream of, and it comes with the software. I literally could not have put it better myself. So thank you, Terry. Our aim is with the Hatch Academy, our aim is to not only give you tools to navigate the software, but also to build your skills, increase your skills, get better at different aspects. So in the Academy, you can jump in, you could do a course on patches, you could do one on towels, which we're going to look at in a moment. You could look at things which are going to improve your lettering, that are going to improve your digitizing, even things like you can figure out how to do better jumping things and run stitches so that your designs run more smoothly, which is really fantastic if you don't want to be babysitting your machine so much, or if you're trying to make a lot of things because you're running this as a business and you need everything to run as efficiently as possible. So there is literally over I was going to say like 300 courses, but I think it's actually 6. I always get that number incorrect. There are so many courses there, and you don't have to do all of them before you start. You can jump in and out, do the parts that you need, but they're literally sitting there for you all of the time. So Nerily is asking for a recommended progression list for digitizing. Okay, so from the top of my head, I would make sure that I know where all of my toolbars are. So in the getting started classes, there is a whole bunch on the different toolbars. I would make sure I knew where all of my toolbars were. I would then go straight from learning about my toolbars and my dockers straight into the How to Digitize course, and I would work my way through it. So with all of the Hatch courses, you get examples. You can do the example exactly as it is shown to you inside of the course, but you can also do your own version of it. Sometimes if I am learning and I am trying to make sure that I have all of the steps correct, I will do it exactly as the course. And then straight away afterwards, I will bring in my own artwork and I will do it with the exact same steps, but end up with a different process, because that's the way I like to learn and it's the way I like to remember things. Once you've gone through those for your digitizing, practice, then you can look at things like the classes on push-pull compensation, particularly if you're using lots of, I was going to say tricky type of fabrics, but I don't even mean tricky types of fabrics, just a variety of fabrics. And then I would go straight into the shading courses and then just get better at it. Digitizing and embroidery is definitely a learning curve. It's not a push play, off it goes. I love learning, so I love that learning curve, and I love that the learning curve keeps going because I can do more things with it as well. All right, people are asking where they can buy the books. I'm just trying to keep up with the chat at the same time. And hi to Louisa, who is from Brazil, and she's hoping to improve her English. If you are finding anyone who is watching, sometimes it happens concurrently, but if you're on YouTube, you can hit the closed captions. The video is set to come up in multiple languages, but I don't have control over that. That's a Facebook thing. I'm sorry, a YouTube thing. But if you do get stuck, try it in a different language as well. All right, so for other ways to learn how to use, for the Hatch Academy, there is an app. You can get the app on the Google Play Store or the App Store. Inside the app, it is exactly the same as the Hatch Academy. You sign in with the same email address that you have signed in with your Hatch, and you will be off and running. I love it. I commute to work by bus. I'm quite often on the bus looking up things as I go. A friend of mine says she uses it while she waits for her kids to play endless rounds of soccer. So it is one of those things. It is great that it is portable. There is also a user guide. Now, the user guide is included inside your software. You do get it, so it's built in, but there is also a PDF. If you like a printed version, the printed version is available on Amazon. On the Amazon one, be sure to order from your Amazon for your country. So if you're here in Australia, say, order from the Australian Amazon, not the USA Amazon, because otherwise you will get charged a huge amount in shipping. So get your local Amazon to go for it there. If you are working in other languages, you can get help inside Hatch in other languages. You can also set your Hatch up in other languages as well. So there is more information about multi-language options inside the Hatch FAQs, which you can find on the website as well. All right. Now, today we're going to be talking a lot about towels. So I thought I would show you a little bit of a stitch out first so that you can actually get a little bit of an idea of what we're talking about before we launch into the class. So here is a stitch out on a towel. Now here you're actually looking at the design upside down because I've put it onto the edge of the towel. So I've flipped it around to make it easier to hoop up. And we are running a lay down stitch. So a lay down stitch knocks down the pile of the towel. So the loft of the towel gets sort of flattened down so that you can stitch on top of it. Some people would use a wash away solvay or like a stabilizer, which is going to dissolve in water. You can do that. With a lay down stitch, you don't need to do that because the lay down stitch will actually a really lovely way and allow you to actually stitch directly on top. Here is that it is almost invisible when you go to actually stitch. And in the class in just a moment, there is going to be some extra information about how to do that. Then once you're ready, just clipping some threads which didn't trim correctly, you are ready to then stitch on top with a separate color. Now this is not sped up. This is running at 700 stitches on our 10 needle machine there. So you'll find that it actually stitches out quite well. A lay down stitch looks like tons of stitches when you actually digitize it out. So if you actually digitize your whole design and then you add the lay down stitch towards the end, you're like, whoa, stitch jumps. Well, what you'll actually find is the number of stitches is actually all of the stitches in the lay down, which is squishing that down. Now, I was talking about this with one of our colleagues yesterday, and I was saying, even though it is a larger number of stitches, which obviously takes a little bit more time to run on your machine, it is still faster than hooping up with the solvay, stitching the whole thing out, carefully pulling away all the solvay or dissolving any of it, than using your lay down. So your lay down stitches is still much faster and neater and cleaner than doing that. So if speed and efficiency is a thing for you and you don't want to have to wash your towels or get your towels wet, really the lay down stitch is working out really fantastic. All right, looks like I dropped sound then when I was on the video. Sorry about that. Okay, so I will do a quick recap of what I was saying during the video there. So what we were seeing was the lay down stitch actually stitching out. And the lay down stitch squishes down the pile of the actual towel. And it does it in a really lovely way so that it doesn't look like properly squish. It actually looks nice and lovely and flat, and it prepares the surface ready for us to then apply our design on top. So that is how it all works. Now we're going to jump into the class. Just before we jump into the class though, I am going to double check my audio for the class section. All right. Fingers crossed this one works. This is a bit of a longer video. I've pulled it out of the Hatch Academy. So for those of you who are trying to decide whether Hatch is for you or not, this is the type of things that you'll see in the Academy. So in the class, we're going to be talking. That's fantastic. Deborah has just said that she is done and subscribed and she is in for Hatch. So yay. Thank you to everyone who helped with that sale. Well done, everyone. That is fantastic. And welcome to Deborah. You are going to love Hatch. You really are. All right, let's take a look at this lesson and learn more about towels.
In this lesson, we'll combine lettering with an included design, which we'll edit. This lesson can be done in Composer and Digitizer. Now this is a big design. In fact, it's a little bit larger than my 200 by 300 hoop for my brother. And as you look at it, you can see that depending on how the camera picks up more of the lay-down stitching than in other places. And it happens because I'm using polyester embroidery thread, which is shiny, and towels are made out of cotton, and so they're more of a matte finish. So if you don't want your lay-down stitches to show as much, you can use a matte color, and you can find brushed poly or combed poly, I forget what they call it, but it does come in embroidery thread. There aren't as many colors. Or you can get a cotton embroidery thread, and you can just run that for your lay-down stitch. Now here's what it looks like in Hatch. And I do have this article, and articles can be accessed through the background tool, and we have factory articles here. This is a custom article. You can add your own articles to Hatch, and we discussed that in another lesson. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use ruler guides, and I'm going to pretend that that is the corner of my towel. I just wanted you to see it here on the towel so you have an idea of how it's intended to be used. So let's talk about this font because it's a unique font. So here are two fonts. I need a really big font for a design this size. And most of our fonts are satin stitch fonts. And you can see that this is a normal satin stitch font. It has thick areas and it has thin areas. And if you've been digitizing for a while, this should be a clue that was probably done with the digitized blocks tool. Now, yes, we do have other fonts that are applique or run stitch or even puffy foam, but as we get larger and larger, the satin stitches get wider and wider. So if I select this font, this one is Eliza. And Eliza has a recommended size range of 35 to 55 millimeters. This one is Mono Contour, and it has a size range of up to 80 millimeters. So that's why I chose it. Now, as you look at it, you see that it has these other kind of stitches. They look like fills, but they contour around. So this is a contour fill. And when we have fonts that are composed of multiple stitch types like this, they are a specialty font, and they may not have all the changes that we can do with these, and they may have different characteristics than this type of font. For example, this font is color number 5. And even if I do some modifications with it and I change the color, so for example, if I change it to that color and I reshape it by pressing H on the keyboard and, I don't know, do something like that, see how it changed back to color number 5? It's not a big deal. You can just change your color when you're done. The Mono Contour font is from font pack number 13, Monolines. So you can get that from the Hatch website. I have to tell you, I really love this font, so I do use it a lot. So you might want to check that out. Let's create a new design file and we'll start our design. So go to the Lettering and Monogramming toolbox, click on Lettering, type in your text. I'm just going to paste mine in since I already have it there, and I need to pick a font. The fonts with size ranges are either included or they're Hatch font packs. So we want one that can be sized up really large. So I'm going to scroll down to Mono Contour, I'll just press M on the keyboard. That zaps me to the M's, gets me there faster, and monocontour. And I'll set the height to 75. Now I'm working in millimeters. 75 millimeters is about 3 inches. So there's my font. I'm going to zoom out a little bit, hit the minus key a couple times. And I'm just going to add a ruler guide about there and a ruler guide about here. And this is going to be the corner of my towel, just to give me a reference. So the next step is to choose the Any Shape baseline. Now when you click it, nothing happens yet. So you press H on the keyboard. And now we can add nodes to this baseline. We'll just curve it around something like this. You may have to add a few more nodes in. And usually when you do things like this, your letters start bunching up, overlapping. But if you just click on the diamond, you can move it this way. Now if I right click on this diamond, it selects everything from that letter over. And then I'll just left click on this one and move it over to the left a little bit. And if I think it's curved up too far that way, I'll right click here and drag them all this way. So just get a position where it looks good to you. Left click on that, move that in a little bit more that way. So that looks pretty good. Now if you think the apostrophe is up a little high for you, you can click on that diamond, hold down the control key, and then you can drag it down a little bit. Maybe something like that. And save. I'll call this monogram 5, GM5, beach in it, and enter. So if we go back to our original design, it has this sun. Now if you know what design you want to insert, you can click Insert Design and navigate to it and insert it that way. But usually when I'm doing things like this, I go to the design library and I start browsing my designs. So as you look through here, if you look for a design that has parts that you can easily separate, for example, that one, we could easily just pick out that star and use it. We could just pick out a raindrop, or we could pick out one of these shells. And I somehow missed it, so I'm going to go to seasonal. There it is. See with that gray background, it kind of dims it out, makes it not so obvious. I'll open it. And then I really only want this sun part. So if I open up the Sequence Docker and go to the Colors tab, I can select that and I'll copy. Copy, go to my design, and paste. And it pastes it in the same relative position as where it was before. I'm going to group that. It's really tiny, but we can enlarge it. And this one's going to enlarge really, really well because it's run stitches. So we don't have to worry about stitches getting too long or getting weird. And just size it to where it looks good. There's no science to this, it's how it looks good. Then I'll change it to a satin. I might want it a little bit bolder since this is a pretty big towel. So maybe we'll go 3.5. How does that look? We could go maybe 4. Once again, I'm just choosing values that look good. And if you have some points that in here that look kind of not smooth at this size, we can reshape. I'll ungroup it. And maybe we want to work on that one. I'll press H on the keyboard. We'll zoom up. Just maybe move some of these nodes and kind of smooth off some of those curves. Do something like that. So you can take your time doing that. Oh, this looks kind of funky here. Press H. I'll delete that last node. Move that in like that. Maybe do something like that. Press 0 on the keyboard. And that's all looking pretty good. If I want to change some colors, make that more of a beachy color, maybe that color. Because this is a really big design, we have all this big lettering, and we have the sun, and we're already at 18,000 stitches. And it's pretty big space here. I want to do the lay down stitches separately. So I'll put lay down stitches behind the sun, and then I'll do lay down stitches behind the beach in it. So the lay down stitches for the sun sews, and then the sun sews. And same with beach in it. All that lettering lay down sews, and then the lettering sews. So it really doesn't matter what order you do this in. Click lay down. I want a 2mm offset. I want to include holes. And I'm just going to click pink here so I can see it. And then I'll move the sun up there. I'll select the beach in it. Click lay down. And I'm going to pick a different color for that. Just temporarily. Because it's always going to put at the beginning. And by working on the Colors tab, it's easy to see where all my objects are. Now I'll select my lay down objects, and I'll change them to whatever color I want to sew it in. I sewed on a white towel, so I'm going to pick a white. I have a home machine and a multi-needle machine that both have large enough hoops that I know this will fit in. If your maximum hoop is 200 by 300, you might want to set a work area, or you might want to have a hoop showing so that you don't make your design too big, because you really don't want to put your lay down stitches on until everything's finalized and the size you want, because otherwise you're just going to have to do it again. Because as you shrink this, let's see how that works. I'll select all and I'll shrink it. Everything shrinks proportionately. So that 2mm offset we have starts shrinking. That may be okay, it may not be okay. But the best thing to do when you're working with designs that have lay down is to totally finish your design, make sure everything's the size you want it, the position you want it, and then put your lay down stitches on. Now in the next lesson, we're going to create a simple embossed monogram, but we're going to use an included design frame, so that means we're going to have to digitize our lay down object. We won't have an object that we can use that's already there. See you then.
So wasn't that a great lesson on actually how all of the components come together for a towel? So I've got a few questions to answer that came up in the chat as the video for the lesson was playing, but there was also some people just saying that they had some sound issues. So I just want to make sure that everyone can hear and just double checking all of my ones. I actually swapped out my microphone while the lesson was there as well. So fingers crossed that all works. Now, in the chat, we had some questions about the different lay down stitch, how it works on different fabrics. So, where am I? So, D. Watkins asked about the density of the lay down stitch creating issues. No, it doesn't actually. So what the lay down stitch is it's actually quite an open type of stitch in terms of the way it stitches out. So it stitches out kind of crossing over itself, creating like a mesh, for want of a better word, which is then going to lay your other stitching on top of it. And so because it is kind of open, it is not very dense, and it allows your stitching to go on top really, really easily and nice and cleanly as well. So that was probably explained a little bit better in the lesson there as well. But yeah, no problems in terms of density and stitching out on top of it when it does it. The towel that I was stitching on, which actually showed the video earlier, is like a super, super plush towel. We were like, oh, lovely quality towel. It's really nice. And yet it just knocked it down and just did the lay down stitch like so easily there. So that was perfect for it as well. And Iona was asking, could we use it for a minky fabric as well? You could totally use it for a minky, and they're asking particularly to do with plushies. But any fabric which has a loft, so anything which has got a pile to it, it works really well. So I've used a lay down stitch on some velvet, on towels. I've used it on a lightweight terry toweling, which is like a lighter version of like toweling here in Australia. Sometimes it's known as loop back fleece as well. It's a sweatshirting material, and I flipped it around and used the back side of the sweatshirt. So that's worked out really, really well for it as well. I've used it on corduroy. It worked fine, but the embroidery wasn't great on corduroy, but that's more to do with the wales of corduroy as opposed to the lay down stitch not working. It was an experiment, and I was trying to see if it worked, and I wasn't super happy with it in the end for that particular piece. What I actually ended up doing was I made a patch and sewed on a patch, because that actually worked out much better for the look that I was going for. So yes, it works. I personally didn't like the look for the look I was going for on that particular project as well. So yes, laydown works on other types of fabrics, not just towels as well. All right, I'm going to scroll back down and see if I missed anything else. No, I don't think I've missed any extra questions. If you've got any extra questions, throw them in the chat, and we will see if we can finish them up and answer all of them before we are done for the day. Just scrolling back up, making sure that I didn't miss any questions. It's obviously tricky to do it all at once. No. Okay. As I said, throw your extra questions in the chat. So there will, all of the links for all of the different things that we have talked about today are all in the chats as well. So you can go and get your free Sakura deer themed key fob from the 3D in the Hoop key fob course. We have the brand new part to the shading course, which is super exciting. And I really can't wait to see how you're all starting to interpret your designs now that you've got new ways of looking at it, and information for those as well. So that's really exciting. And then I want everyone to be able to tackle towels with confidence. So there is that lesson that we showed is one part of a longer course with inside the Hatch Academy, and it's all about how you can do different towels. One of the reasons I chose that particular course is it actually shows you how to do it through the different levels of Hatch. So it'll include composer and personalizer, as well as a digitizer for you there as well. So be sure to check it out no matter what level you are on. And for everyone, every time you are looking to learn something new, be sure to check out the Hatch Academy. There is something for you to learn new every time there. All right, I think that is everything for this week. It looks like the chat has been all answered. Thank you all so much for joining us, and I will see you again at our next live stream. Till then, you can always get in contact with us via any social media channel. You can follow Hatch. It will be Hatch Embroidery. You can also follow us on Facebook, and you can join our Facebook user group as well. We love to hear from you. We love seeing what you are creating using Hatch products. So please let us know and get in contact, and we will talk to you all again soon. All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a great week.